Bear with us for a spell. We're about to unveil some profound spiritual truths, perhaps illuminating a thing or two along the way. What's before your eyes? That's the World Debt Clock. The United States, it's king of the hill in this game, piling up twice the debt of any other nation. China's given a good chase, and Japan's not far behind. The rest, they're just dots in the rearview mirror. Now you might not see your homeland on this screen, wondering if it's got one of these ticking debt bombs. Here's a clue. Do you trade in paper money? Got a central bank? If you're nodding to either, then yes, your country's part of this debt fiesta. Chances are, there's a website ticking away your national debt as we speak. But why's this clock always running? It's not like we, or our governments, are borrowing cash every living moment. Considering the average Joe makes less than 50 grand a year, there's hardly anything to borrow anyway. And it's not like Congress is signing loans in their dreams. So what's the deal? Why's the clock tirelessly ticking? Here's the unsettling truth. The money itself is the debt. Gaze at your so-called money, and you'll spot Federal Reserve note right at the top. A banknote, or a bill as they call it in North America, is nothing but a negotiable promise by a bank to pay the bearer on demand. And what's a promissory note? It's a legal pledge, where one party promises to pay a fixed sum to another under certain terms. So, a note equals debt. And as those sovereign citizens, state nationalists, UCC1 filers, and Moorish flag bearers will holler, real money's in gold and silver. Everything else? Just debt. That's why you can't truly pay for anything. That's right, not one single thing. You don't even own the underwear covering your sweet ass right now. And how could you? You've got no real money, just debt-laden paper. It's all just monopoly money. That's why it's called currency, a continuous flow of debt from person to person, business to business. So when you pay for something, you're just discharging the debt, neutralizing its energy, if you will. And if you're wondering if criminal charges are linked to this debt dance, you bet they are. Every criminal case is a commercial affair, and there are plenty in the clink who know this all too well. So the debt clock, you see, doesn't stop, because each dime you spend, each bill you pay, adds to the collective debt. Utility bills, Amazon purchases, mortgages, paychecks, savings, bonds, stocks. It's all feeding the debt monster. Debt on top of debt equals more debt. It's like trying to douse a fire with more flames and fuel. You can't extinguish a debt with more borrowed debt. That's the brutal truth of it. So how does this whole debt debacle tie into spiritual truths? Here's the connection. Debt is akin to karma. The same principles you apply to this global monetary conundrum can be mapped onto the karmic cycle we're all entangled in. Our producer stumbled upon this insight through Yusef of High Frequency Radio on YouTube. Now, this isn't a full-blown endorsement of Yusef. We're not buying into everything he sells. But if you're keen and discerning, feel free to dive into his content. He's got some solid insights, though he spins his own yarns, so keep those ears sharp. But one gem he dropped that really lit up our producer's mind was his 4 rules of the game. Rule number 1, there is no money. Rule number 2, public and private don't mix. Rule number 3, stay in honor, at all costs. And rule number 4, do not participate in public controversy. Now Yusef does have his spiritual bent and leans heavily on the work of William Walker Atkinson's The Kybalion, but his 4 rules all have to do with the natural law. Take Rule 4, for instance. It essentially means stay your ass out of court, because as a private individual, you've got little to no place in public courts. And this connects perfectly to Rule 2. Public and private are oil and water. They don't mix. Think about that the next time you see "to protect and serve the public" on the side of a police car. Spoiler alert, the public is an abstraction, not a living human being. But here's where we pivot. We're reframing his rules into pure spiritual guidelines. In this discourse, we're mainly unpacking Rule 1. There is no money equals karma. You can't settle your karma debt. It's a Sisyphean task. The more you engage in life, the more karma you rack up, necessitating further incarnations to balance the scales. And how do you offset karma with more karma? You can't, that's the snare. It mirrors the debt-riddled currency system we're mired in. We'd wager that the whole concept of monetary debt was probably cribbed from this karmic principle. Now, gaze once more upon that debt clock and grasp this spiritual axiom. What unfolds in the higher realms mirrors what transpires in the lower. The divide between the material and the immaterial is a fabricated illusion meant to befuddle you. Just as the finest architecture takes cues from nature, think beaver dams inspiring our structures, or modern jets emulating birds, our material world is but a shadow of the ethereal, symbolic realm. After all, you can't conjure something from nothing. With this revelation dawning on you, what steps can you take? This isn't a novel insight. The money-debt equation is old hat. YouTube is brimming with deep dives into this topic. From Aaron Russo's eye-opening America, Freedom to Fascism, to Peter Joseph's groundbreaking Zeitgeist, and the 1996 classic The Money Masters documentary, this is well-trodden ground. Even The Creature from Jekyll Island, available on Audible, spins a thrilling narrative on the inception of the Federal Reserve. Yet, despite this wealth of information, a staggering 80% of Americans are drowning in debt. What's the disconnect? Why does this cycle persist, despite the abundance of knowledge and historical precedents laying bare the mechanics of our financial system? Ponder the even more devious nature of karmic debt. Imagine departing this earthly realm only to be welcomed by figures you believe to be your loved ones, angels, or spiritual masters, all echoing the same sentiment. They tell you, sure, you can linger here a bit, but sooner or later, you're bound to return to Earth to play the game again. Maybe you didn't get it right last time, or perhaps you vowed to your twin flame a do-over, or worse, you feel a duty to humanity. But here's the kicker. You aren't inherently human. That's just a role, a team you were playing for in the grand scheme of things. It's a snare, a labyrinth, with an elusive exit. And to be honest, we're not entirely certain about the escape route from this cosmic charade, but we're on a quest for answers. This channel and all related projects under the Awake Mind initiative are dedicated to this exploration. And to drive home the point even more, we're going to leave you with some morsels of wisdom, drawn upon the tales of Isabella Greene, the author of The Soul Trap. Because in this intricate dance of existence, the lines between illusion and reality are often blurred, leaving us to question the very nature of our journey. What seems like an endless cycle of karmic debts and earthly returns might just be a part of a larger, more profound tapestry of consciousness we're yet to fully comprehend. It's in this realm of uncertainty and exploration that channels like the Awake Mind Project thrive, delving into these mysteries, seeking truths hidden in plain sight. So, let's remain open to the endless possibilities, ready to question the status quo, and eager to discover the deeper essence of our existence. And without any more blah 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 from us, we present for your pondering mind, Ms. Isabella Greene.
Isabella speaking. If you pay attention to the stories of the near-death experiences, they're all just about the same with small variations. But here in the audience, we have a person who had a very different experience, or he took it to the next level with the beings. And I would like to share this with you. I put his story in my book, the short version of his story. I hope that one day he's going to write a book with all the juicy details. But right now, for the sake of time, and you not getting too tired here, I would like to have a quick interview with him to tell us about specifics of his experience, because it was different than the rest of them. This is Logan. Logan, thank you. Isabella speaking. Thanks for being here. Everyone appreciates this. When I was writing the book, we just happened to have a conversation about near-death experiences. And I would like to ask you, Logan, so when your near-death experience started, what was the beginning and who greeted you there? What was the very beginning of that? Logan, it was the huge blasts of white light, very intense, blinding and almost paralyzing, and a big, booming, godlike voice making statements towards me. Isabella speaking. What kind of statements, Logan? It's time to come home, Logan. It's time to come back to us, to them. Isabella speaking. The dimension towards the light. Logan, Yeah, Isabella speaking. Oh, very nice. Okay, so pay attention to the details. Big, white, booming, almost overwhelming kind of light. Logan. Very in position or intense. Yeah, Isabella speaking. Right. Okay. And so what happened after that? Logan, I said no, I'm just going to stay right here. I don't know what's going on, so I'm just going to chill. Isabella speaking. Okay, Logan. And then they became very insistent, asking again, oh, it's time. You have to so on and so forth. And there was encouragement from me to come back. And I just said, no, I just passed away and I don't know what's going on, and I'm going to chill. Isabella speaking. And so you resisted? Logan? Yes, Isabella speaking. Okay, so what happened next? Logan? So the more I resisted and the more I just went into myself and I just stayed calm. The light started to fade and kind of disappear. And then, as I guess, went into my own internal energy, I heard a voice way far away as my senses expanded. And it said, he's figuring it out. Isabella speaking, he's figuring it out, okay, Logan. And I was like, what? Isabella speaking. And then who appeared after that? Logan. So after that, I felt the presence of maybe 3 other beings. Isabella speaking. 3? Always 3. If you pay attention, they're always 3. And what were they like? Logan? Yeah, they were trying to be friendly and calm. Isabella speaking. Did you feel the love coming from them? Logan. There was an attempt of what you would call love, I would say, but it almost became what felt like car salesmen just all over you. And what about this? What about that? Isabella speaking. Okay, so the love. A lot of people with near-death experiences report that they feel this overwhelming love of the beings come to them. But the way they surrounded you, right? Logan. Very close, no space, like I just wanted to just be chill and still, right? Isabella speaking. So he could see all the way through that projection of love that a lot of us are so starved for the true connection, for the true love here on Earth, that what they produce there, that just opens us right up and we go for it. We're ready to do just about anything that they tell us. What happened after this? Logan. So what began was a series of questions or offers of, would I like to do this? Would I like to do that? Isabella speaking. What did they offer you, Logan? They wanted me to come back as a human, and I said, I don't even know who you are. What if we make you really powerful? What if we make you give you lots of women, or give you lots of money, or give you beautiful opportunities, or so on and so forth? And I said, no, I just passed away, or I left my human body. I feel like that's gone, and I don't want to go back to Earth. I'm cool. I'm good. Isabella speaking. Okay, now we're kind of on the line here of what selling the soul to the devil is like. What does it sound like? Oh, what if we make you powerful? Would you go back? So he keeps resisting. What happens after that? Logan. Started to become very strong in my resistance because I just wanted to have peace. I wanted to be calm. I just wanted to relax. And they wouldn't leave me alone. So my energy started to get a little frustrated. And then they noticed that. And they said, oh, okay, well, if you don't want to do the human thing, how about another planet? We can put you on, like, another planet where you can be a little easier. It'll be a little more comfortable. Isabella speaking. Did they show you the planet, Logan? Yeah, they showed it to me. Isabella speaking. So describe that. What was that planet like? Logan, I just remember the planet was like it was kind of blue, or what was the feeling? It was a little lighter. It was like, it felt like, oh, it'd be nicer. This would be nicer, right? And I almost considered it, and then I said, no, I don't even know. This is not what I'm looking for right now. Isabella speaking. Okay, so here's another part that no one talks about. That extraterrestrial beings and the planets that are on the same level of consciousness as Earth plane, which we'll see, let's say between 3.1D third dimension to 4.9D right before the fifth dimension, the developing world, so to speak. They have their incarnation cycles and they also participate in ours. So how is this that he received an offer that, oh, we can send you to another planet? That would be a little better. So from like 3D here, maybe 3.5D to 4, all felt a little lighter, but still not exactly what he wanted. I go more into these details in my book, where I describe people's experiences that I witnessed as a healer, where there were the beings, the non-terrestrial beings, literally present. And there were 2 tunnels, the tunnel of white light and the tunnel with blue light, with beings there. So there'll be more details in the book about that. The book is very short to the point, but you will find more details. So what ended up happening after all this, Logan? I was able to go beyond time and space in the higher form and kind of zoned in on those beings. And they seemed happier, but they still felt like there was some type of structure system where it was like it wasn't full freedom and something was. Isabella speaking. There we go. Logan. And then. So after that, they started to get a little frustrated with me. And I was just trying to find my bearings and maybe get away from them. But then all of a sudden, before me, an illusion appeared in that non-time and space, and it was like an endless vault of doors that just kept going in all directions, no matter where I looked. And so that kind of encased, and Isabella speaking, this is called the astral plane maze. They sent him into the maze within the astral plane. I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, Logan, and so I started to pull away from them because I'm just done. He just feels like vultures, or I don't know what's going on, I'm going to move. So I just floated, and I went to just go down this hall and check all these vault doors. And there's lights above all these vault doors, and I hear them chattering and trying to come up with something else, or so on and so forth. But then, as I continued down the corridor, I noticed a different light. It looked different, and it seemed like, oh well, it's different than all these other dozens or hundreds of these lights. So this must be the way out of here. Isabella speaking. You felt pretty stressed by that time, Logan? Yeah, I was just getting frustrated, so I was like, okay, whatever was this? And so I went in the vault door with the other light, and I said, okay, this is my way out. But instead of me going out and up and away, I felt a huge gravitational or magnetic pulling me down. I heard maybe an internal voice or a higher voice. As soon as I heard the first word, I felt like trust in real love. Not a fake love or not a conditional love. It was an unconditional love. And it told me very calmly, very relaxed. It said, follow the true light. Isabella speaking. How did you get back in the body? How did you end up back? Logan speaking. So after I heard that voice, that's when I felt a sense of calm. And I felt like a trust as I started to do that. And then it was like, then I came back to my earth body, had attempted suicide. And yeah, I lived through it. Isabella speaking. Okay, so when he was told, look for the true light, he found the door, or the light that looked different. But as he pulled himself into that, he started dropping. You know, the feeling like the elevator going down, and boom, it was awful. Next thing he knew, he was in his body again. So what happened here was that he went through a few rounds of these interruptions, and he didn't want to go back, but he still was kind of tricked to go back. Did you know how to astral project at that point? Logan, I did, yeah. Isabella speaking. And what did you experience when you did astral project? What did you experience? Logan, so in my astral projection experience is very curious. I wanted to go as far as I could possibly go from the Earth. I just said, well, there's so much cool stuff, and I've astral projected off here and there on Earth. But then I said, well, what's beyond? Let's go check out other planets and places. So as I send like a rocket in my energy bodies, I enter. I remember the first time it felt like a gel, or it just got really sticky. And I'm like trying to push my way through it, and then I guess, yeah, the word that came to me was like there's like a firmament, or there's something surrounding the planet. Isabella speaking? Yeah, there we go, thank you. Logan, and every time I'd go to that firmament, there was always some type of being I'd run into that would say, try to direct my attention back down, whereas I'm trying to go back up. And it would do it with different questions or different forms. Isabella speaking, all right. And so here we have the astral plane surrounding the Earth. And people who are astral projecting very often report hitting, like a glass ceiling, or the experience is different in his case. It's like a sticky kind of thing. I did astral projection for years. This is where I started from being about 17 years old to like 24, because I didn't know that there was something else that was available. And did you believe that you had to go through the astral plane? Logan, I did, yeah. Isabella speaking. And so the reason he went into the whole afterlife thing and the experience of the beings was because he believed that he could not bypass the astral plane. He had to fight through that layer, try to bounce off of that layer, get through that layer. All right, so let's give Logan a round of applause. Thank you, Logan. This was his first time sharing his story in front of the group. I kind of startled him with this idea because I really wanted him to come out and start speaking about his experiences. And now we continue from another talk Isabella gave on the show Classified with Richard Willett. Classified can be found on David Icke's Iconic Media. Isabella speaking. And I literally got to observe the kind of soul transition and station. They were beings, in groups, and they were shepherding souls. And the beings looked very much like what we are conditioned to see, ascended masters or angelics, like that kind of thing. But generally these beings present themselves to you in accordance to what you believe in. So if you believe in Krishna, you're going to see Krishna. If you believe in Jesus, you're going to see Jesus. If you believe in angels, you're going to think you're surrounded by the angels. If you don't believe in any of that, you're agnostic and you don't believe in any of that, then you are going to encounter your grandmother or someone who looks just like or presents themselves just like a loved one, that you would trust and hear and follow their directions, and they get to you through opening your heart. There is this incredible feeling of love, way more love than what we ever experience here on Earth, but way less love that we experience in the quantum field of information, the source consciousness. Richard Willett. So when they get you to this point with this Archon, this handler, and they're trying to convince you, this push and pull here, they're trying to lie to you. Why do they need your... How would I say it? Why do they need you to comply with this? They need you to be able to at least seem to choose to go back in. They can't force you, so that implies that you had the power. Why do they need you to choose it, even though they're manipulating you to do so? Isabella, seem to choose is a great choice of words, right? Because they're going to run you in circles with different suggestions until they find the weak spot. And when you hesitate a little bit, like maybe, boom, you're back. And the body, you're back, that's like, all right, you sign that contract again. But my understanding is that it's all about, well, kind of a bit of a sad perspective, but Earth is like a farm. We are providing the vital energy that I believe Robert Monroe called loosh, is an energy that human beings generate when in suffering. So there is pain, your karma, you have to suffer, which makes you produce more loosh, which supports the beings who sustains themselves off of that energy.